God, what the fucking
Hello,
what?
hello.
Ladies and gentlemen,
God damn.
when was the
How's-
last time we did a podcast?
Last week.
Damn,
No,
that was
last
like
week I
30
was
years
gone.
ago. Anyways,
Last week I don't care about you, Rain.
Oh my god.
Ooh.
But yeah, it's last Saturday I was practically dead because flying back from Oregon from 5 in the morning there, I believe it would have been 2 or 3, or not 2 or 3, it's 2 or 3 hours. 7.
It's 2 hours.
Yeah,
It's 2 hours behind Texas.
2 hours behind Texas. Okay, so it
Yes.
would have been 7 in the morning, and I barely got back home around like 6:30. So effectively, I was not getting up to do another podcast that week. So, oh god,
That's all right, dude.
What's up?
That's
So-
not all right. How dare you?
Oh, it's fuck
How
you
dare
then,
you?
That's
Oh,
all right.
man. I also would like to apologize ahead of time that there was no uploads the day that I flew out because
He flew out.
hotel. Yeah, I flew out, and hotel Wi-Fi tends to be kind of shit. Really.
Flew out and got delayed and had to get another flight like 30
Yeah.
hours later.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't tell you this then. Yeah, pretty much I got fucking delayed because of like a flight coming in from Chicago was delayed due to like whatever storm they were having over there, which caused me to miss my Arizona flight. And I'm like, God damn it.
Seems like you could have just drove there faster.
Correct.
I
We could-
really should have driven there, bro.
We could have, but at the same time, it's like I'm not gonna put myself through that shit too. And if anything, my company is paying for at least the layover like stays that we're going through anyway, so it doesn't matter in the end. But it's still annoying as shit to deal with.
Absolutely, it is.
God. But needless to say, too, yes, everyone, this is going to be us trauma dumping to Michael here.
Yay!
Specifically just to me.
Yes, because
no, Ryan trauma dumping.
yeah, it's our podcast episode topic is primarily going to be talking about Asian parenting in general, and I want to at least preface this that like it's not us really shitting on it, but there are times too that we can criticize it. But that's also
I mean,
coming.
every parenting style has a flaw of some sort, and we're gonna talk shit about it.
Yeah. So if anything, we'll do equal opportunist shit talking from every parenting angle. Whether
Oh,
you,
Michael can be involved.
yeah, if you were raised by wolves, something is wrong with you.
I mean, that just means you were raised by wolves.
Fair enough.
I don't know about that one, Chief.
But more specifically, we'll just go into the Asian parenting. So, for everyone's experience here that doesn't know about it, in this case to our non-Asian audience, what is it like growing up in an Asian household?
And your ass whooped you being a little dickweed. That's what.
Yeah, as well. Having strict parents telling you can't go nowhere.
Oh god, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Although it was that, but it was also parts of it for me was literally because I was just a shy kid because we kept moving around a lot, so I never really had like long permanent friends until I met these chuckle fucks.
Yeah.
I
Gateway.
don't know who he's talking about.
Oh my god. But it was honestly really hard to like actually kind of warrant asking my parents if I ever want to go out to hang out with friends because it always involved with like going somewhere pretty far distance that required a car. I couldn't drive then too. And also, even if I did, I didn't really have my own car.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it was pretty much like, at least from that angle too, it wasn't like it was directly forced on me that I couldn't hang out with friends. It was just kind of awkward asking my parents of like, hey, I want to hang out with some friends. Could I borrow the car for a bit? Even though most of them are mostly working like the restaurant jobs. So I never really get to see them until they get back home anyways, like 7 p.m. That's already dinner time.
Mm-hmm.
So needless to say, there was like a lot of things that I've heard too with Asian parenting that the whole mindset or teaching as well too, that there will be some that are either helicopter parents or tiger parents is the other naming for this.
Helicopter?
Yeah, helicopter parents.
Helicopter.
Yeah, I never heard of that one.
So it's it is effectively the same thing as like to us the equivalence of a tiger parent, but helicopter parents just mean the fact that you're like constantly up and around like your kids like space. Like you're paying attention to everything that they do, and whatever they do too, you have full like supervision over them about it. Like they have no sense of their own privacy or autonomy.
Just breathe down their necks, and like no breathing room at all.
Yeah,
Absolutely
so,
not.
yeah.
You don't
It's
get
like
you don't get your own room either.
yeah, pretty much. Although at that point too, that's either a couple situations. Either you did something wrong that caused you to do that shit, or we grew up kind of poor. And like, yeah,
or
it's
more
like a
like
family-
they, or more like they just did that from the get go. There was no
Yeah.
catalyst.
yeah, fair enough. It's like a family of 6, and then there's only a 2-bedroom, and you had to share a room with your other siblings.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what I
normal.
did in the apartment.
Yeah, man. Back when I was young, in my youngin' days, when me, my brother, and my parents lived together in a 1-room apartment, we all slept in the same room, as you can tell.
Damn.
And a
Michael,
bunk
have you ever
bed,
had
too.
that situation?
Hey,
Living with my yeah, I bunked with my brother for a while.
Yeah, like in a situation where like you guys didn't really have your own separate rooms to begin with, and you all had to like share that room.
Yeah, but that was mostly because we were young and we had a game room,
Mhm.
but not because.
see-
And then eventually, as we got older, I moved into the game room, and then I had my separate room.
You see, with me, I mean, so we had my whole family slept on a bunk bed, in a single bunk bed, in one
Like the
bedroom.
whole. God
I say
damn.
the whole. Like I said, it's just my parents and me and my brother.
So
That's
who got
great.
the top bunk?
It was my dad and my brother, and I slept on the bottom bunk with my mom.
Oh, usually
Makes
it's the parent. You know what? Fuck it. I guess.
makes
when,
sense.
I mean, when you have kids, it's a different story.
Yeah, that's true. If anything, we got to the point with the way how we live too. We just slapped in like a twin size mattress next to the queen size mattress in like 1 bedroom.
That's
So
pretty good too.
yeah, I mean, to be fair though, this was also us living in like California too. That was like how we lived for a bit. But that was also we were living
Yeah.
in someone else's house as well.
Oh yeah, that's pretty awful.
Yeah. So in general too, like I grew up kind of knowing this space too. Like I never had like a room or private time for myself too. My dad kind of knew that, and he knew that everybody else wanted like their own private rooms as we were growing up. So he did his best, and lo and behold, there's that. But this is kind of far for the point too of like us, like we were doing this just because depending on how we grew up, most of us grew up poor. So this was the thing that just happens. A lot of the Asian parents do. And then there's some that even they're pretty well off too. There are some that even if they have their own room, it doesn't help them somewhat if it's like all manufactured or fabricated for their child. So
What do you mean?
so this is based
I
on
get
the,
lost.
so this is something that like in a tiger parenting mindset based off like certain studies and based on like surveys of like why certain parents do one thing over the other. And the general consensus is that for them to believe in the success of their own child's success, they want to surround that child with as much positive energy as they could, whether it be like making sure the furniture is lined up in a certain way so that it allows them more quiet time for them to study, them minimizing TV so that it's not so loud, having their room separated from your friends' like gathering areas to another part of the house just so that they can focus in a quiet space.
Mhm.
And it even comes to the point too where like they even just set up their rooms correctly to quote unquote optimize max efficiency for studying. There's like a whole other like as the study kind of breaks this down to, this is also other ways how feng shui, in this case the way how we use superstition to kind of help dictate how our house design is. But needless to say too, a lot of that can honestly be taken way overboard too, because a lot of like the children's of these tiger parents too, they kind of have a lot of resentment towards their parents even after
With-
they grew up
but-
and whatnot.
Warranted, by the
I
way.
mean, it's sometimes unreasonable. I do agree. It is sometimes unreasonable, but at the same time, it's also because they tell us not to do things without really explaining why.
Yeah. And this is from what I can gather too, from a lot of like, at least from the East Asian culture mindset too. It is all in this case the appeal to authority kind of stuff, in the sense that like they will do everything they can to instill upon you that you have to respect the authority too, and therefore that also includes like your parents. Like you have to like respect our judgment of what we say that you have to do, such as the fact that you can't really join clubs, you can't really hang out with that many friends only when we allow you to, and you can only choose either of these selected hobbies that we handpicked for you. Either it's like some type of like musician class too, and it's specifically violin or piano.
Always, or martial arts.
Even then, that's a bit iffy. Even then.
Yeah, dude, my parents never like pushed me to do any of that.
Yeah. So that's another thing too, that like we never got to experience it that way too, because at least like for us at work, at least I'm grateful of too that like my parents didn't really push me that hard over to stuff. Outside of like, yeah, with studies, it's just like they just want me to try to go for A's because they knew that like I really didn't care about school that much.
Yeah, you were a fucking dumbass.
Hey, just shut up. Okay, that might have also been a thing.
Might have.
Shh, try to make myself look better here, damn it.
Dumb.
There. But mind you, there's a lot of times too where like in a lot of ways too, they really value education a lot versus like everything else, like clubs, sports does not matter to them. If your kid does not make it to like the top seed of like your school too, they don't see that child succeeding, because here's the way how they see it. If your child doesn't succeed, that means they failed too as parents, because they couldn't like have their child succeed with their parenting style or whatever they did to like help nurture them, that they failed to.
That's the
Dude,
problem, though. I mean, like with Asian parents, all they tell you to do is go sit there, study, and make A's. They don't really help you.
Yeah.
But granted, it's because they can't. They don't really know how to help you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's the thing, though. If they have that mentality, but all they do is tell you go study, of course you already failed.
Yeah.
I feel like encouragement would be more beneficial rather than demanding.
Now, this is also something that's kind of coming up to question lately right now within like the inner circles of like Asian cultures. But for like this regard too, because this is also taking context of like me not taking consideration of like any parent's education, just because like even if your parents were properly educated and they can actually help like their child actually study correctly too, it really doesn't help out too if the behavior is still the same. Because that's really the end thing about this too, because even if like your parents does not know the subject, or if they do know the subject, the way they go about, in this case, instructing their child to like focus on studies is also, in our opinion, not the most healthiest. But who are we really to judge too? Because here in America, it's not really incentivized to, at this point, go so hard on education anymore here.
No, I mean, but at the same time, it's with educated parents, I think it's also the fact that they want their children to do the same thing that they did. You know, they had to go through struggles and learn everything themselves, and they kind of want the kid to do the same.
Yeah.
I think so. I'm not sure though.
Yeah, because there is a common phrase that goes around too. I don't know how to properly say this in Chinese, but the translation of it is like, in this case, there's no such thing. In this case, for success that you have, or for success to happen, you have to suffer first. In the sense that like it's pretty much misinterpreted, or I feel like it's misinterpreted, at least in my opinion, that your childhood should not have like fun involved into it. Like you had to suffer as a childhood during your childhood.
Regardless, even with help, you will suffer. That's the problem, though. I think that's the thing nobody seems to understand. Even with help, you're still gonna struggle.
And I also think that just because someone suffers doesn't mean it will ever benefit them. Like just because you suffer to do something doesn't mean it will actually benefit you in the end. People can suffer and not get something out of it.
I think the mindset is that suffering will help you learn from it. You know, like life's the best teacher or something like that.
But if you collapse due to the suffering, then
which is half true, yeah.
Yeah, to an extent, but not everyone is built the same. Some people will crumble under that kind of pressure, under that kind of failure.
Oh yeah.
you don't know the half of it too, of like when you mentioned that statement too, there's so many stories of like the Asian kids that are the result of their tiger parents like parenting style too, that they effectively just crumble over the pressure. Henceforth, you see that's why there's a lot of high off rates. Yeah. High off rates in like certain like Asian countries, like in this case South Korea and Japan, just because there's so much fucking pressure on these kids of like them trying to succeed, when in reality, when they actually have to question of like, what is all this for? Because obviously, for the most part, the parents at this point, they are making them go through all this hard work too, just because the main thing they want to teach us to, the whole basic thing about it is based on Confucius ideals of like trying to respect authority, having good work ethics, and just being overall just prepared somewhat in life too. But it all gets really bad if, let's say, for example, your parents are just not good at communicating that type of stuff to their kids in the first place. And whether or not if it's supposed to be encouraging the kids or in this case being strict on your kids does not really matter. If you can really like convey what you want out of them, there, all the lessons here too, it's already going to be nothing at this point. You're just being hard on your kids for nothing.
Well, it could just be that the language, like, if it's like an immigrant parent, do you really expect your parents to really understand how you what you go through? Because you can't explain it to them. You don't know they don't know English. You only know English, and having that, the disconnect is gonna be, very frustrating because you can't communicate you want to.
Yeah, and that's the other thing about it too, because this is also sort of unique with like the Asian American mindset, because of the fact that this is something that they were like your parents only knew how to do back in their own home country, and when they moved to America, they're trying to instill that teaching off of you, but then you yourself are being exposed to everybody else in this culture, and it's not the same way how your parents are, and you kind of like in a lot of cases the kids are feeling conflicted about this. In a sense that like, but there's also a very unique situation that goes about it too, where as they grow older too, they actually begin to start understanding their parents a lot better, because of like now the nuanced takes and how in a lot of ways they do appreciate sometimes their strict teachings here and there too, only because of a couple key reasons. It's the matter of understanding your parents too, because half the time your parents, they genuinely do love their kids, but it's also like for them, they're just really bad at communicating it to you. And it's, even if it is a language, even if you can convey it to, they themselves don't know that vocabulary themselves, how to explain it. They just knew that's how they were taught as well.
Somewhat agreeable. But...
Yeah, and I'll be this is
still
only
think it would be a language barrier. It's like it, like okay, let's take us for example. Do you think we like as our as adults, like young adults, Asian Americans, and trying to speak to our more traditional parents who only mainly know how to speak Vietnamese and are stuck in their ways, do you know how to speak Vietnamese and really convey what you feel instead of in English? Because it's a whole different ballpark.
Yeah, I mean, my dad could speak English. That's the thing.
Yes, but what about your mom? There's been several cases where you've told stories where you were frustrated with her, and you weren't able to convey how you really feel just because of that language barrier.
Oh yeah, no, it's still hard to like. I am doing my best conversing with her in Vietnamese too, but there are just words that I don't know how to say in Viet, just because like I genuinely don't know what it is too, and I don't think my mom has ever heard that vocabulary before either.
Like they don't have like a direct translation from Vietnamese to English or English to Vietnamese.
Is
that what you mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's like there is a word for that, but it's like for her, like growing up too, she's never heard that word spoken to her ever. So it's like for her, it's like, oh, she thinks it means one thing, but in reality, I'm trying to explain the other thing here. But it's like it's really hard to convey messages that way too. Even in English, that's a little bit complicated. So
I proves my point that there's that disconnect. It's like there's a disconnect between child and parent. Like even now, I don't really speak to my dad all too much because he's just going through. He's 75, and I've never been around this man and had like a conversation and had him laugh, like just me and him.
Yeah.
Because I don't speak the language all too well, and his expectation of me is just, we came over to America so you can get a better education and get a better job, pretty much a better life.
Yeah.
But in a way, I can't communicate right now. Like, I can still learn that language. I think we can all do our due diligence and still learn, our own language, so that way we can still communicate with our parents. I think it'll be better just for all of us just to learn the language anyways.
Yeah.
Because being multilingual is
It's a good thing.
pretty cool. Or like you get
for
to,
sure.
you get
Yeah.
to see how you get to combine like different languages and kind of like piece together. It's really weird. We have broken Vietnamese in English. Like there's words where I don't know how to say in Vietnamese, and I'll say it in English, and I say it in a way that it's really like it has like a really bad Vietnamese accent kind of deal, and they understand it somehow. So I piece that together, but still learning like the actual language, and it's just easier for them.
Yeah. And that's also like one of like the many aspects of like the growing, in this case, some of the people that are growing up with like strict Asian parents too, that's like the growing discontent about it is in this case that language barrier. But for me, what I'm really kind of going into is like the basis of like why they're strict is much more of like a personal choice and more like a cultural thing that's going on too. At that, or at least it's been cultural for quite some time as well. Like in a sense too, Michael, what is in this case your take about like how you always see like a bunch of like Asian students are supposed to be very good at education, or in this case math and science, for example?
I
Like
mean,
whenever you hear that stereotype.
I think honestly, realistically, it's not a true standard. Like, I guess you can say culture has made it where the value of education is higher to them, and then therefore, maybe that's what pushes them to like put more effort into learning all of these things. But I don't think it's a strictly true fact that like all are going to be good at math or all are going to be good at science, or you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think it's just another stereotype, really.
Yeah. But the biggest thing about it too is that like a lot of like the Asian parentings and let's say cool, like we'll also group them together with as well Tiger parenting. They want their kids to do very well in those few categories just because usually those that major in like within math and science too, they also have like the career path that directly translate being doctors and whatnot. Anything high paying
What's
careers.
the hype about being a doctor?
I don't know if they all
It's
the
like-
sick.
Here's a
I think
basic
it's just
thing.
mostly the
Yeah.
It's all bragging rights.
Yeah, it is
oh,
the
they're
prestige.
doctors.
It is the prestige of having, in this case, your child become a doctor, or in this case, not that they want them to become doctors to actually help people, but in a sense that they want to at least announce to their peers that, hey, we are good
Yeah.
parents too because we have our kid that's now a doctor. Despite in this case not really telling them the amount of student loan debts that child had to take in order to do this.
Shit.
Well, that doesn't
didn't-
matter. Yeah,
Yeah.
that doesn't matter. The point is that the kid became a doctor.
Yeah,
Kid
that
went
is
through
the
12 years of
social
medical
class.
school. 12 years of medical school to become a doctor.
The fucking social class. That's it.
Oh,
They
yeah.
just
Just bragging rights, bro. I mean, reality
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
yeah.
See, the thing
that-
is, like,
Mhm.
Fucking-
so the only reason I'm concerned about, like, whenever I hear like always going for doctors, is I really do feel like you kind of had to have like a passion to be a doctor for that fact. Like, I don't want a doctor who became a doctor because he felt obligated to become a doctor.
Well, you don't
Like,
go to
I want a
Asian
doctor
doctors.
who truly like wanted to be a doctor because he genuinely cares. Like, I feel like that's what makes a good doctor.
But even
Hmm.
then too, it's like the thing about it as well is, again, every one of them, like at least for a lot of Asian kids growing up too, that's also like the only thing they do know is in this case is just only studies and just becoming in this case a doctor. but none of them really ask themselves of like if this is what they truly want to do. Like in this case, I'm not gonna in this case underscore the amount of like our Asian peers that actually became doctors for that legitimate reason of wanting to be a doctor and nothing else. But this is something that straight up I can really tell of like, yeah, if you want to become a doctor just because for money, or if anything, you're being forced to become a doctor because your parents have only gave you two options. It's either that or engineer or lawyer.
I don't know why it's always those threes. Like even myself personally, that's what my dad kept on saying. If I want like all this engineer lawyer bullshit, I'm like,
Yeah, bro. They should have gone software engineering. They want to make the most money.
Yeah.
like, bro,
But they-
I don't want to do this. I don't want to be a miserable human.
Like, or at least you
I don't
don't want
wanna
to be
fucking torture
miserable doing all this.
Mhm,
No, fuck that. I'm like, I don't want to even do that. I'm like, see, that's where it comes in. I can't convey like I don't want to do this because I don't think it would fulfill me as a person. Like I don't think it'd be fulfilling.
Yeah.
And
But
that's it goes back to just that. I'm like, it's fucking
Yeah.
stupid.
But yeah, because there's something that I think in this case, I watched like a couple videos that like have like people kind of explain their stuff too. One of them actually quoted a lot of like scholarly or like documents of like when they did surveys, like in one study, 50 Western American mothers and 48 Chinese immigrant mothers, almost 70% of the Western mothers said either that stressing academic success is not good for children or that parents need to foster the idea that learning is fun. By contrast, roughly 0% of the Chinese mothers felt the same way. Instead, the vast majority of the Chinese mothers said they believed that the children would be or they had to be the best students and that academic achievements reflects successful parenting. That's the only reason.
That logic still doesn't really make sense to me, because it is kind of back to what Victor said. Like, if you're really just demanding that they go and study, like, you're not really parenting. So like you can't, I don't think you can even hold yourself to a standard of parenting of like being good or bad if you're not really doing any true parenting to begin with.
This is where you're overlooking how much, in this case, vanity matters to a lot of Asian culture. That's how much you're really overlooking the importance of that alone.
I could understand if you believed you failed as a parent, like if you actually like tried to help them with their homework, or if you tried to get them the things they need in order to succeed, or if you like, you know, asked or like was there for them. But like if all you do is demand that they do the work and you don't really put any of the work in yourself, then I don't understand how you could even begin to say that you were a parent, like that you could fail as a parent when you weren't acting like one to begin with.
I agree.
Indeed.
Yeah. Like I said, yeah, this is just me like kind of explaining like what this is how they kind of view it too, and it's not like for us like we think that this is a good way of parenting either, just because half the time when you're doing this, you're effectively just neglecting the needs of your child. Which obviously too, depending on how it is too, the way how they view it is this. There's also a Confucius saying too that like there's like a very popular Confucius saying of like the child is in debt to their parents because the parents put so much work putting you out in the world. So therefore, it's like in a lot of ways that the child owes them all this. So that means the basic thing that they could do is do well in studies.
I fucking disagree.
Yeah, I do. That's also the parents.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of a misinterpreted understanding.
The parents' choice. It's also the parents' choice of having the child.
Yeah.
So they chose the struggle.
Yeah. Because to them, they cannot say otherwise to that like, did they properly succeed if they haven't struggled in the first place? It's a very backwards way of thinking if you really try to break this apart.
That is all right. I mean, the more we dig deep into it, the more backwards it gets.
Yeah, and right now, here's the thing about it. That's the only thing that really makes sense for them. In a society where, in this case, having an appearance matters way more than actual, like, substance of a person.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, even though like we say it doesn't make sense to us too, if we actually look over to what's happening over like in South Korea, Japan, and China in that respect too, it kind of makes a lot of sense the way how people behave over there in a lot of sense too. I'm not trying to paint them in a bad light or picture, but in a lot of ways too, it can be considered toxic as well.
Oh, very. It's like, especially Korea. I'm like, I've heard many stories. I just listened to, well, Brian and I listened to a certain podcaster, David So, and
Yeah.
he mentioned like how in Korea there's like, it'll be like a social clique kind of deal. And
Yeah.
if you have some kind of controversy or you have like a scandal, like once you're already integrated, you will be outcasted immediately just so they can
Yeah.
keep appearance that we don't allow these type of people in our group. Is that fucked up? Like your little clique that you would have in like high school and like all your little friends, that shit happens in fucking real life with grown ass people.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's really fucked up.
Yeah, it's like
you care so much about appearances, like Brian said.
Yeah. And it's like, here's a, we can only criticize it so much too, but to them, this is their reality. This is something that they have to live with over there. This is what they have to do in order to survive over there. Especially since in a world where it's so driven in like vanity, like if you really think of the mindset, like if all you really did care about was like for appearance, everything does start to make sense. But again, once we start breaking it down, like logically speaking too, it really is just detrimental to everybody's like well-being, like even to the child and even to the parents as well. Like this is something that's not going to be like sufficient. And I'm not even trying to state otherwise that Western parenting style is any better either, especially like the whole notion of like trying to nurture and or the whole idea of in this case encouraging your child more of doing these things. But at the same time, if all you're really doing is just giving them praises and not actually like saying, hey, try to not do a lot of these things to you or try to be better about it, but doing it in a much more loving way, then I'd say that's a much more preferred way of parenting style. But albeit I don't know what that is.
I think that like a lot of Western education or like how parents handle it is very coddled. Like, like part of school as well is kind of learning a discipline. But if something is really difficult for a child, like for their child, they get upset at the school and then they lash out at the school because like it's impossible for like their child to be struggling in some way.
Yeah.
I don't know, like whenever like you hear about how it is right now, like in like middle schools and stuff like that, like how children are and how disrespectful they are and how much like backup from their parents they get to act like that.
Absolutely.
Like
disgusting.
it's just, it really is. It's like, it's less like they're just very much like defend their children at any cost and less not like maybe their child is acting out or anything. I don't know. It's just, I think there's a lot of whack that's going on. I mean, like,
yeah.
So like every place has like their flaws as a, like, I believe.
They just need an ass whooping.
I think it's just a very common human behavior that nobody will ever blame themselves for their problems.
Yeah. Because like, although it's like, yeah, it's like nobody will ever blame themselves too. And it's also sort of like in a way too, like if you fail, like as an Asian kid, if you failed like one of your classes too, your parents will take super offense to that shit of like, how dare you fail? Like we are doing so much for you and you dare choose to fail. And it's not like, what if that, for example, too, it wasn't by choice either. They just actually fucking struggle.
Yeah, maybe they are actually struggling and they need help, but their parents are like, you are a fucking idiot.
Yeah, and
and that kind of behavior only makes them want to unalive themselves.
Yeah.
And then Western parents with the going to school. Why is my kid so fucking stupid?
No, it's like, why are you guys not properly teaching my kid?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's why we have the standards, the education standards drop so significantly.
Bro, we are so fucking dumb as a country.
Yes, we are 100%.
But yeah, and this is why right now it's becoming a lot more like a interesting like rediscovery and or also redefinition of like how we should be handling parenting right now, because all the Asian kids that are in this case the result of like our immigrant parents too, they're also becoming parents now too, and they're trying to like navigate now in the world that like they don't want to outright like be super strict like their parents, but outside of like just to be a little bit lenient, they know that they can't be too lenient on the child, because you know the child still needs to learn how to behave, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
a misbehaving child, you know, something like that will definitely earn me some spankings too if I ever misbehave too, or if I decide to do something stupid like not do my summer reading again, my dad grab a 2x4, whack my ass.
Bro,
My
I got hit.
goodness.
I got hit with the fucking broom. So.
Yeah.
And kneeling, bro. I'm like literally, I'm kneeling
Oh
like right.
god,
Like,
kneeling
you
is the
think-
worst.
Kneeling
Like-
with a broom, goddamn, this boy
No,
just
I
gets
got
so
whacked
pussy.
first. I got whacked first, then I kneeled.
And then
No,
you got
being-
whacked again. I fucking Brian getting
Uh,
whacked by a 2x4 or something. Not gonna lie to you.
Just grabbing whatever objects nearby.
I got fucking iron hard knees because I fucking kneeled so much. I'm like, shit, bro.
You better be
God.
lucky. Your dad only found a 2x4.
Bro, he could have got a
Yeah.
steel. He could have got a steel beam and fucking concussed you.
If anything, he whacked my ass, not my head. The head is like a no-go part of like the strict parenting as well. No other parent
I
should
hope
like
so.
strike their child like
Yes.
that. No other
I
parent
mean,
should strike them.
logically, it would make sense via the way that they want you to be. Like, if
Yeah.
they want you to be smart and then they start beating you across the head, like I feel like it's counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure, fucking brain.
Oh yeah,
damage.
definitely. But you know, there's some cases too where like there was like a. Do you guys remember that one news story of like the one girl that fucking snapped, and in this case, offed her parents because in a lot of definitions they were like the tiger parents to this one girl.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, she
I don't
hired
think
like
I heard it.
No, she hired a few people to like invade her house. She knew what was going on because she
Wow.
hired them, but she was
Yeah, yeah.
in the house, and they fucking tied her parents up and all that shit. But they left her alone and they killed her parents.
Ugh.
How long did
Damn.
this ago did this happen?
I
Like,
think it was the last decade. I don't know.
Because
Yeah,
I
it
heard
was the
that
last
story was
decade.
really familiar. Like they didn't like they handcuffed her or tied her to like the banister of the second floor or something like that, if I remember right. I can't
Yeah.
remember now, but
It
it
was
sounded
something like that.
really familiar. Like they
Yeah.
killed the parents, and then it was supposed to look like a failed robbery or something.
yeah. Yeah. and-
Fabricate the whole story. Then she got arrested. They obviously the murderers also were.
arrested as well.
Mhm.
But this is sort of less like one of like the very like honest and harsh reality of like just how like even though like we know that this is bad, there are sometimes people that are definitely not going to be able to get that message, and this is pretty much like the result of that. I'm not saying other way to justify her action was right, but neither should have happened
Well,
in the first place.
Look. This is just a consequence of the parents' actions, is all I'll say.
Yeah.
Right or wrong, that's not important here, but that's just
Mhm.
a consequence.
hmm
Yeah.
Every
because-
action has a reaction. It doesn't matter. Every cause has an effect.
Yeah.
And you will pay the consequences if you
Yeah.
treat them poorly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like in a lot of ways too. It is definitely like from what I stated earlier too, that like the parents themselves, they feel in this case that the child is obligated to provide for them just because they brought them in the world, and it's like the more that they love them, the more love that they want to see you give back to them in the form of like doing well in school and studies. But that can also be an unhealthy message as well too if the parents don't know how to like properly like just set expectations correctly too. Because like what you said too,
I mean, look,
the child didn't
like,
ask to be born either.
that's one
Nobody
thing,
did.
but even then, like
Yeah.
if the child wants, or if the parents wants the child to do well in school, they gotta help them one way or another, even if they're like unable to help them. At least try,
Yeah.
hmm
like put in the effort is probably, it will help the child like see the parents in a different light.
Yeah.
You
And-
don't. I don't think the parents have to actually be able to help them. Just like try to put in that effort.
Like, yeah, it's like it's also one of the things too that like one of the lessons that I would take that like from the Western parenting style too. Like I would at least like like ask them, like, just at least try to encourage like your kids too, because some of these kids too, they could be considered like fucking depressed just because of how much, like, imagine you actually do well in school, but then all you receive back from them whenever you show that off to them, they're just like, you can do better instead. It's just like,
Oh yeah, that's the worst. That's the absolute worst. I'm not gonna lie.
That's
Yeah.
it's soul crushing to hear you
It
put
is.
in all that effort and to have somebody and fucking come and wreck your fucking
Like-
psyche, bro.
like
Like you
for-
have you built yourself up, then they fucking tore your ass down.
Absolutely.
and this could also be a couple things too, like for them, like they just think that they thought they said the right thing too, but obviously that's not how like your child would take it, because obviously for the most part they don't understand what you're trying to convey to them, because all they heard from you was that you just lectured and criticized them, that they could have done better.
Mhm.
And it's like, it's one way, like when you actually ask the parents too, like, why did you say it this way, instead of telling me like good job. And sometimes from like the questioning too, they just say, I legitimately was never told good job when I was growing up either, so this was just the only way how I knew how to like parent as well. If I would have known how to say that, I could have said that better. But this is also the problem of like, you didn't know that you could have just said it then, so why didn't you at that point? And
Like didn't know how to, so you can't. I mean,
Yeah.
they only know what they grew up with, so
Yeah.
they are just a shade of their parents, and what they saw in the household is what they grew up in, what they,
Mhm.
you know, what they are gonna practice as well. It's-
You see, that's the thing though. That's the thing with us being born here and growing up here. We see we live in a different culture, so we get to, I guess, experience things differently than what our parents did.
and
yeah,
at,
for sure.
at least for like the benefit of like the way how my parents kind of raised me too, they kind of want me to be exposed to a lot of things, because at least my dad was like realistic about like, you're going to be interacting with a lot of other people too. I would rather at least not have you be a loner, but then knowing that like I moved around a lot as a kid, it didn't help the situation one way or the other. But it was also
Mhm.
because like our family dynamic was like a little bit like volatile, to say the least.
Yeah.
So, and trying to like at least like maintain a friendship too is like, was really hard growing up. And my dad also like,
I mean,
man,
yeah,
yeah, like in a lot of ways too, that like he was so stressed about like me trying to at least have friends too, that like pretty much, I told you guys this story too, but there was at one point in like elementary school that I got sent to ESL, which for those that don't know, that's just like a way of like kids that don't know how to speak English, they just get sent to that class for like other remediary or like ways to like help them get integrated in school better. A lot of times it has so like bad connotation. That's where you send people that have mental disabilities to, at least back then when I was growing up. So
Okay.
when my so by the
I guess I'm
time, so
stupid then.
yeah.
I guess I'm a tard since I went to fucking ESL, Brian.
Yeah, me too,
I
bro. I
never-
went to you, so
Growing up, I never thought that ESL meant that you were like a mental
well,
deficient.
that's the
had
thing
some
with
sort of
Asian
mental
parents.
deficiency.
That's the thing with Asian parents though. When they don't understand something, that's what they default to, really.
Yeah, and like my dad got so upset at the school too, thinking that like he's not that too. He's actually just super shy, and I really was, because of the fact that I didn't know how to act in school.
Yeah, your dad was just saving you face, but like, yeah, this kid was kind of a pussy. I'm just kidding.
God damn it!
He's just a little bitch. That's all it is.
Yeah, he just needs
swear.
to get his ass whooped like once in a while. Then he'll whoop some man.
No, you can't be mentioning that in front of fucking American teachers too, because then they'll call Child Protective Service.
Oh yeah, they would.
I fucking do it,
Oh
bro.
my God!
Fucking
There's
do it.
also
My mom and dad whooped my ass. Look how I turned out. A little bit stupid, but pretty fun.
wait. Well, hold on. A quick question for Victor and Loy here. Did y'all ever get in trouble where they actually had to call your parents up to the office too, and while they're explaining what you did, your parents would start cursing you out in Viet?
No, I
No.
did like
Oh.
I didn't
Shit.
know better when I was like in first grade, and I hit a special needs kid, and they got me. Like I tapped him on the back. I tapped him on the like, I gave him like a back pat, like really kind of like roughly,
Hard-ish.
like
Oh yeah, he punched you, right? Is that what it was?
no. It
You
was like,
punched
it was, well, I tapped him on the back, like how you tap the back, and that's like a sign of good job. Like I
Yeah.
just did that, not in that way, and it was kind of hard, and they saw that
Oh.
they thought I was like messing with the kid, and yeah, I got in trouble for it. And I was only fucking 7, bro. I don't know any better. What the fuck is special needs?
Back then,
I didn't even know at the time.
you came straight from Vietnam.
We're just having fun.
No, literally, I don't know what the fuck that is. So like, yeah, you kind of just have to go through the hard way. I'm like, what the fuck, bro?
Oh man. Okay, so that just means yeah, I got cursed out when in Viet as they were like explaining this to my parents, and I'm just like, I am so fucked.
I think I was a pretty good kid. So I don't think I got in trouble a lot. It wasn't until I fucking got into college. No, in high school I did skip class like quite a few times.
I punched a kid
Or
in
high-
elementary school, so there's that.
Was it warranted?
I don't think the
Yeah,
school cares.
Was he
Yeah.
bullying you? He was picking on you, and you fucking,
Yeah.
you drop kicked this motherfucker or something.
I
then
mean-
I think it's warranted.
it's been a while too. I think he might have been either that too. Either way, we both got in trouble regardless too. And then my parents chewed me out for like punching people. I'm like, fine.
Oh no, I got in trouble because this one kid, it was in middle school. We were just sitting down, right? We were just like waiting to go back to class, and they were like fucking around, and we didn't do shit. Like me and this other guy got in trouble. We didn't do shit, right? And this guy literally was the one that did it. And it's like, oh, it was those two Asian kids, and we got brought out into like when we went back to class, and they found out like we got brought out. We went into the hallway. It's like, did y'all do this? Like, no, what the fuck? I'm like, bro, if I had a fucking, anger management anger problems, I would have probably drop kicked that kid. Thankfully, I did. I was like, oh, dude, no, he was like annoying, like on multiple occasions. I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, you are a fucking munchkin. Like, shut the fuck up. You probably
Yeah.
still a munchkin.
Yeah. Have you ever got
I
in
hope
trouble
you-
before, Michael?
Yeah, I've been in rack a few times.
Oh,
Yeah, he's been a bad boy.
He's been
Damn.
a real bad boy back in them days.
The first time was for leaving the school grounds
Jesus, you just left school. What the fuck?
to go get food.
You see, you just never show up at school. You don't get in trouble. I had the advantage of having parents that didn't speak English, so when they they were trying to remotely call my parents, they couldn't speak English. They would have to call my brother. My brother was like, and I don't think they'll ever call my brother because they're probably working or some shit.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I got away with it.
Most of the time.
No, all the time. What the fuck? I never got caught.
God damn.
I never got caught skipping class. I just don't show up at school.
Oh god. This is the this is the only one drawback to when your dad knows how to speak
Class.
English.
If you can't be skipping class if you don't go to school, right?
Exactly. It's like you're not going to school, then going off of school grounds if you were never on school grounds to begin with.
Yeah, exactly, bro.
You
Yeah.
can just call in sick. There was actually one time where I was taking a bath and I drank the bath water to make myself sick so I wouldn't go to school.
Oh my
fuck?
goodness.
Like
Look,
dead ass.
I look, to be honest, I would probably do the same thing too if I didn't want to go to
Right.
school.
Yeah, when I say I'm a little stupid, yeah, I was a little stupid.
Oh my god. But try to go back around this too. I would say like we're gotta also like the way how we understood like what it means to like be a good person or like in general how not to be a piece of shit of a human being too. We kind of just surrounded ourselves with people with diverse backgrounds. Like that's what gave us like a pretty much a interesting lens of like how we should be behaving versus like how our parents told us how we should behave. And
Yeah,
out-
yeah.
and it all comes from like a couple of reasons too that like there's like a say that like like in this case the parents know best too. That's why there's like a lot of times too like that's why your parents want you to be like those three career paths too, because to them that's what they deem what success is in their eyes. But for us, success means completely different based on like who we surrounded ourselves with. But that's also another aspect of the Tiger parents too, that they would in this case not even allow you to hang out with certain groups of people if they weren't also like high academic achievers as well. But it's also for the purpose that you have to beat them, not for them to like you getting to know them and get good friends with it, hopefully get better in your grades by being with them. No, they also want you to like be friends with them and beat them as well. It's like, what the fuck is this?
Like a weirdly competitive friendly
Yeah.
competition.
Yeah, and it's like apparently this is like very common in a lot of like Korean schools too.
Oh yeah, dude. Even in elementary school, I think I I'm just competing and shit. Like even now, I'm like I think I could do better. Like with people low key, and I just don't say it. It's probably just me, so I can do better. It's just hard,
Yeah.
like so I can do better.
Yeah,
That sounds like a W to me.
like I forgot what they called it here because I remember hearing it in like other like American TV shows too, where like the other parents too would just like get together to like have their kids like meet and try to commingle with it as like a fun thing. I forgot what it's called.
Hell no, I don't know. I never heard of that. I just
Yeah.
heard like you just okay. You see little Billy over there? He got a B. You're getting an A. If you don't get an A, I'm whooping your ass. Pretty
Yeah,
much it.
yeah, and it's like comparison is such a one thing too that I absolutely hate with the Asian parenting style. Like they will always compare you with another person that's succeeding more than you, even though
Fucking tell me
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, dude. Fuck Billy, bro.
God.
Yeah, fuck Billy, dude. And like all dude, no, on like on a serious note, like fuck
Like-
Billy. But even to this day, my mom is like she would like compare me to like some other kid that she like to a coworker. Like yeah, but yeah, and that he doesn't even concern me. I'm like, I don't even know this guy. Like
Yeah.
why do I care? Like,
Yeah.
okay, he makes good fucking money. Boo hoo. What about his fucking mental state?
God damn. But Michael, have you
Don't give a
had your parents like practically try to criticize you by comparing you to another person that's doing better than you?
Not that I can remember.
Hmm. Yeah, because that was just something that was like super common a lot too.
I-
And some yeah, go ahead.
This man
Oh.
lost his train of thought.
Okay.
Or he
Damn it.
died. I don't know.
He loses
probably-
train. I think his computer died. All right, well, let's continue.
Oh, hello.
Yeah,
Oh,
there,
there you
you
go.
are.
Did I completely die or something?
No, you
Kinda.
almost did.
You started,
I
you
was-
started and stopped.
Oh, I was gonna say what I said was that I'm sure there are some white parents who do it, but like mine didn't.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like someone here. Comparison is the thief of all joy. It really is too. But I think that the only reason why it's like that too is like the way how I mentioned like earlier too. Their whole purpose is like they don't see in this case the value of like having their child like living a joyful life. Or if anything, the way how they see that too is like you actually succeeding in the end. So they'll make you suffer all the way up to this point. Just so that you at least learn from all that suffering of like being a better person. But in reality, it's like it's not always going to be like that, and not every kid is going to behave like that either too. But that's just how they dictate it as well. And comparison is just another like tool that they use to like help them try to push them to be better. But in this case, pushing your kids too far would lead to results of what we said earlier, where that one Asian girl kind of offed her tiger parents. Not kind of, but she did offer tiger parents through a very elaborate plan.
Dude, she hired assassins, which is
Mhm.
crazy.
Yeah. So
This is crazy. Where'd you get that money from?
No need to ask those questions.
it's like, no need to really ask that question once the crime has already been done at that point.
I just want to like dive into their fucking psyche. It's a weird thing of mine. I was like, these murderers went through all this trouble. Like they're so methodical. Some are just plain out stupid and they don't think. But the methodical ones,
Yep.
like you want to dive into how they fucking think and what led them to that. I'm like,
Well, if you're curious, if I remember right, it was a couple of like acquaintances she knew
Yeah.
oh, for
who were
sure.
willing to get their hands dirty for some money.
And I
Yeah.
think one of the acquaintance was her boyfriend too, from what I remember that story.
I think so.
Yeah.
But
So it was like really fucked.
Well,
yeah,
both
And-
of them are crazy, and it shows.
yeah.
we've been discussing how like these fucking Asian like how parents of Asian American I don't know how fuck I can't even speak. But we talk about this. But what
Mhm.
about like personal experience? Are there any aspects that you really relate, or is like something your parents did differently? Because I mean
Yeah.
well, aside from Michael, Like he didn't really, he's white. German, to be specific.
What? I didn't know.
So
I'm kidding.
I don't see color. But besides that, like
Well-
there's three of us, so we all grew up differently. We had siblings, and we all got treated differently. So
Yeah.
how did y'all grow up? Like just food, like being, academic, like hobbies and all that bullshit. Like
I'm actually curious about this because unfortunately, like, I've never asked you guys about like all of that. And sometimes I've asked like how y'all's
Yeah.
parents are doing, and then now I start to realize the responses I get for that.
Oh.
Kind of like that.
Mind
Like,
you.
yeah,
Mind you, these are in this case just smaller conversations I have with my mom that obviously they kind of boil down to just sometimes we kind of just yell at each other, but it's mostly because like she talks about like politics, which I don't like. But outside of like, here's the thing about it, I still love my parents to this day. So no matter what my mom or dad chooses to they align with whatever, I still love them regardless. I just refuse to talk to them about it just because I have my own opinions about it. But they want me to have the same opinions as them, and I just tell that's not fucking happening.
And that's perfectly fine. I'm like, I'm like, you're a grown ass fucking adult, bro. Like,
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
like,
know,
why would I do that too? And they're like being insistent on it. But albeit this is sort of less like pretty minor about it. Like, yes, it sounds like I would make a big deal whenever I tell you guys about it, but at the end of the day too, I'm still living with them. So it's like, it's one thing that it's different to that I would move out. There have been times where I thought about it, but really I just need to like calm my head for a bit and then actually think about what it is. I was just like, they're just acting this way because that's just how they are and whatnot.
I mean,
And so
can't teach a old dog new tricks.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah. So,
I mean, unlike, I don't know if it was just me, but unlike
mhm.
like what I've been hearing, what I've been discussing, I actually got told good job as a fucking child, which is
What the fuck you did?
yeah, like yeah. I'm like, my mom would come in, they see my report card, I'm like, oh, you white one? I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, damn. I thought, am I the exception? I'm like, dude, like, I think it was up until like middle school. I was getting praised. Even to this day, I'm like, I was like,
Up until middle school.
yeah, like up until middle school, I was like doing really well, like in academics wise. But once I got into middle school, like you go
Mhm.
through life, and I
Yeah.
fucking struggled. Like
Yeah.
even in
Sounds like that time correlates with when you bought your Xbox KW.
That story is
Oh,
still
yeah.
wild.
that story is wild. I'm like, any other parent would have fucking like, I don't know, like to the very extreme, they could have fucking disowned me, or like whoop my ass to where I had like fucking broken ass
Welts.
fingers. But
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, like, dude, I don't know. It's probably because I'm the youngest child, to be honest with you. Like the youngest child,
God.
they always get away with shit. Like the older ones wouldn't. Like it's fucking true, dude.
Yeah. I am the oldest
I
child.
bought-
I can confirm.
just for reference, the story I'm referencing is my dad was sleeping, and he usually keeps his wallet in his pants and he hangs it up, right? So, as a fucking degenerate of a teenager, who was addicted to gaming and still kind of is, but just with more financial literacy and responsibility. Got his debit card. Didn't know that they would charge, like fucking. I was, like I said, I was a degenerate ass fucking teenager. Got his debit card, went online and bought an Xbox.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, I got the I got the debit card, bought it, and then like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, what the fuck did you buy? Because they come home, then my brother finds out, like, looked at the bank statement, like, there's no money. And it's like, oh, did you buy an Xbox? And like, bro, I think I did get my ass beat and yelled at, but it wasn't like very like my dad was like, he was more calm about it than. It was surprising that he's calm about it, but he still gave like my brother did most of the talking. And they told me like, yeah, don't ever fucking do that again. We might have to actually whoop your ass.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can have, like, they let me keep it but I still, like, it's fair
Yeah.
that I, keep the house tidy and everything. Like I would help them in the garden and all that shit. So that's mainly what I did. So when my dad was out of town and he was growing basil in the back, I'd be the one responsible, like to water them. It took like about like an hour and a half and 2 hours because they need a lot of water. But yeah, I did that. I was like, I think they were pretty lenient on it because I bought a fucking Xbox, dude. Like, could you imagine if you did what I did with your parents? I don't know how they would react.
I was
to
like,
be honest with you.
I would say this for the most part. My dad would beat my ass.
Man, that's what I'm saying. I got away with it because I was the youngest.
Yeah, fuck you.
Like I'm the youngest. It's like, yeah, like I actually got fucking praise, unlike most kids,
Like
most Asian
Okay.
kids.
So maybe I am over exaggerating about this too, but I did at least get some praise as well. But it was also like kind of rare and far between kind of shit. So it would also only just be like big accomplishments in life too that I would get praise of, like, hey, I actually did well on like graduating, or in this case, I got, and it's because my dad chewed out on me by scoring a little bit low on the SAT, but it still somehow I got a fucking place at UTD of all places. So
Well,
I think my dad was just honestly upset that I didn't score high enough on the SAT, and looking back at it, and I don't blame him, but at the same time, like, I didn't really have
it's a place out of love.
yeah, it was a place out of love, and definitely he was a bit emotional about that shit too, because he probably did, to him, he did well enough that like he got into college himself too, but he had to like quit a bit early just so that he could help out the family, take care of some stuff. But mind you, it was all a place I love to, and there are times like I will get praise one thing, but my mom is still usually the most emotional about all of this. So even if I did do well too, she would try to see if I could do better. And even if I did do good, there's like a 50-50. She would praise me or say I could go better.
I never
My
told
dad-
them about how I was doing in school.
Yeah.
In
Same
college, that is. I
Yeah.
had academic probation. I didn't tell them. I fucking
Oh.
failed.
Yeah.
My
I only had one for one semester. I got that shit up like right away.
Yeah. My parents had to have asked me at that point too, because it was taking me like at least like 6 years to finish my degree. By the time like the third year was rolling around, I told the class I was like, man, why are you still taking these classes? The hell? And then yeah, I kind of had to tell them anyways, because yeah, there was no other way that I could bullshit out of that.
It was like Calc 3, right?
Yeah, Calc 2. Calc 3 would be, in this case, I would be like an actual math major at that point.
Oh, you didn't have to take Calc 3 for engineering?
No,
I had to take Calc 3
Did-
for physics.
or at least
you got away with it.
Well, I mean, physics is like heavily math based, so it's
Yeah,
not
but
surprising.
engineering, I would have expected you to know it.
no,
like, they would
there's
have
applied
taught you
math.
that.
There's like a different type of math that we have to do
Oh, okay.
anyways. So it's like more focused on like engineering aspects. So there's
I'm
that.
shocked.
So
Crazy.
Look,
So, yeah,
physics is
we're good.
basically another math major, bro. That's all it is.
yeah, that's all you are to me, man.
I'm just a math major.
Yeah.
Victor, you get any praise as a kid growing up? Like
I don't
actual
remember.
praise?
I don't remember.
Damn,
bro. I
this
think
man
it's-
don't
I
even
think
remember.
I think it's like I think the memories are just repressed right now.
all
This-
repressed right
I
now.
think Victor might be the most like controlled, to be honest with you, because I was pretty. I was pretty like it's lenient. Like it's honestly the way I'm speaking now. Like it's kind of unhinged and like how I talk and shit.
But you know,
Alright.
I will say nowadays, you know, with all the shit that I do, with
I mean-
with my coding and all my work and stuff like that, they always like amazed by what I do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like yeah, we got those our son's so smart, man. I'm
He
like, "No,
tip tap
man."
keyboard, and the next thing you know, he robbed the IRS. What?
Yeah.
Dude, then there's me and like they don't. I'm fucking working at a game store. Fucking working at a fucking One Piece card shop and shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, well, that's something that's cool and all, but that's not gonna be so like sustained for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Till this day
Hey,
too.
I still bought a Christmas tree though.
Yeah. Till this day too, my mom never understands what I do for work.
I don't like I
You
just
just
tell
say
my mom I work
engineering.
Yeah,
Just work at a
that's
car
all I
store.
gotta tell that to. But then when she asked me like, "What do you do for like work?" too, that's when shit gets complicated. I'm like, and I straight up tell her this to like, even if I did explain it to you, would you understand it? Even if I did
Nope.
try, and she would probably say no. It's like, then why did you ask this? Because I want to make conversation with you. Why would you start with that question?
Yeah, just go out shopping, bro. Just go out
Yeah.
shopping or eating. That's the easiest way to connect.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what I do with my mom
yeah.
when I can. So
So,
easy peasy.
but yeah,
And she also disses me and all that. I swear, I might have gotten my shit talking from my mom. I'm not gonna lie. I am not gonna lie. There was like one. I will for like, dude. I will like. I will pass away. She will pass away. I will remember it in my fucking spirit form. Like,
that she'll
this
talk
one
shit to you.
Yeah, no, there's one interaction. There's one interaction, right? It was like me, her, and my brother and my sister-in-law. We all went to we just hung out, right? I think it was like just a random day that we hung out and we went to go like everywhere, like shopping. Then we got to like go to 85 degrees, get some pastries and coffee. Mind you, I didn't like coffee, so at the time I didn't know what it would like taste like. So we're all drinking our coffee, right? Like, so my brother and my mom, they're all like avid coffee drinkers, just like the instant mix, just to get through the day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I take a sip of this fucking shitty ass coffee, very shitty. I'm like, I can't, like, it's so bad. I don't even want to fucking drink this anymore. I'm like, why the fuck I spend $5 on this shit? Then my mom, I said that out loud. I was like, why is this, like, this coffee tastes like shit? And this fucking woman, who I love with all my heart, said, you wouldn't know how it would taste because you eat shit all the time. I'm like, damn.
She right. Like, damn, she right.
I'm like, I can't argue. I can't argue with that.
He was actually
like,
stun locked.
Like, bro, I got hit by a Morgana Q. I'm like, what the fuck?
What was stuck?
Like, I couldn't do shit. I didn't have my black shield up to defend myself. That's crazy. I'm like, dude, like, it's crazy. Like, I think I did get that joking side from her.
Yeah.
And dude, there's been time like multiple times where she would fart around me too, and like, I don't think she give a fuck. Like, she was already well into like her 50s and 60s and shit, and she just farted around me. I'm like, what the fuck?
I would say that also happens to me too. I think it's like the countryside Vietnam that my mom was from too.
Dude, my view of women like stems from my mom, and like if anybody like acts like my mom is like just like joking around and she did that type of shit, like I'm not gonna be disgusted by it because I've seen my mom do it. Like, literally, there's a freaking woman that raised 4 boys and she did that. She fucking farted around me. I'm like, I don't know. I find that like pretty endearing. It's like we're so fucking close that we can do that. I'm like, that's like, damn, bro. I think she just shit talk, like, back then she really did just shit talk me. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
I also joke around that like I would just like help her do some tasks. There's like, we have that water dispenser that you put upside down. And I would just like every time, like, it's a running gag. Like, I do it every time. I try when she's around and she's watching me put it up. I pretend that like I'm super weak and I can't lift it up, but obviously I can. And I just joke that I'm a fucking old man. And like I'm vividly struggling. Like, I shake my arms and shit, and like I'm a fucking prepubescent like teen, and I can't lift it up. That's what I keep on doing. And she just looks at me and like she just chuckles.
Oh,
love it.
Wanted to ask, what is your favorite memory of when your parents beat you? Well, it might be the 2x4. That 2x4 experience was really ingrained into me. I think my ass now knows the feeling of a 2x4. That's all I can say to you.
Hey, I got hands from everybody.
I think I'm the exception here. None of my parents ever hit me.
Damn.
I actually got my ass
look
beat,
at you, so prim and proper.
Yeah, 2x4.
Yeah, I get hit by a fucking wooden 2x4, you little shitter. I got hit by a bamboo thing.
Look, man, it was just because I didn't want to do this assigned summer reading.
All right. You don't want to read? We're bringing out the 2x4.
Well,
Damn.
honestly, I think they had the pretty good reason. You didn't fucking do
Yeah.
your work.
Yeah,
No,
the-
now your dad has that 2x4 ready in every corner of the house.
If anything, I would have drop kicked you. I'm just kidding.
oh my god. But no,
I don't
it
know
was
why. There's been
No,
multiple times where I have said I wanted to drop kick somebody. I don't know why it is. It's probably because I watch wrestling and I just see like people jumping off the fucking railing and just like drop kicking. I don't know. I'm just fascinated with drop kicking somebody and shit.
yeah.
I don't blame you.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I want to drop kick my parents though. That would be a separate story.
Bro,
But
yeah.
other individuals, there have been times where I thought about it.
Oh yeah, there's definitely been times like I see some TCG players. I'm like, damn. I don't think you got an ass whooping or somebody hit you, bro.
It's
I could be the
let
first.
yeah, I can arrange this.
I know how to break an arm. I still do.
God damn. But
Like literally,
I
I'll
think-
just snap your elbow and do it.
yeah,
I ain't gonna be
I'll-
playing TCGs anymore, you little nerd.
damn. God damn. Well, I would say technically my dad was the most lenient one. Besides the fact that he was the one that did discipline me with said 2x4. But
Nah, it was
outside
out of
that-
love, bro. It's out of
yeah.
love.
But like I said, besides of
call
all
it
that too, I don't blame him for doing that entirely too, because I was a shithead kid.
That's
But
what
then
I'm
again,
saying,
he was
bro.
very lenient on like how
you're
I
still a shithead.
was. Hey, fuck you. Let me finish my damn statement, you fucks.
Oh.
No, I
Damn
think
it.
we all know what you're. I think we get the moral of the story. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, he was the lenient one about all this. My mom was always pretty much worried about how I was going to be too. But my dad's like, you pretty much only have to trust him now that he makes the right decision. And I'm like,
If
yeah,
he ends up stupid, he ends up stupid.
yeah,
You have to deal with it.
yeah,
True.
yeah.
Yeah, look at me. I end up kind of like low key. Am I stupid?
I feel
Look.
that.
Look,
Not
you're
even
at-
low key.
Look, I'll be at least honest with this too. You're at least much more betterly adjusted than a lot of other people that I attend classes with.
Oh, dude, I'm stupid and like I just say some really random shit and it was like, why the fuck did he say that?
Yeah.
But like my reasoning behind it makes logical sense for like.
Yeah, we
I'm
just
not
have to
gonna
give
lie to you.
ourselves brain damage here and there to actually figure that part out first, though.
It does make somewhat sense. Like there is some sense to it. I didn't say it would make entire sense, but there is some sense. I'm just thinking in a different way.
God,
I'm not thinking I'm better than you. I'm just thinking in a different way.
yeah. But as like a premise to everybody here on behalf of the Hot or Trash podcast, we gotta think in this case my dad not beating me over the head with the 2x4, because this would change the trajectory of this podcast very quick.
You're right, bro.
Nah, dude, I'm pretty-
timeline
I'm
would be
pretty
different.
I'm pretty sure people can relate. It's like, oh yeah, my mama whooped my ass too, and like my daddy got the belt. I'm like, bro, there's the belt. There's the fucking what was it? The broom.
Those are-
The
yeah.
fucking fly swatter. Everything was a weapon. Like, bro, I could get it. Like you know, there's fucking Mexican moms who have got the fucking chancla.
That's
No.
like heat seeking chancla.
And honestly, all that doesn't sound as bad as fucking the 2x4.
Yeah,
The
they
two
are.
by four sounds like a massive escalation that you can't
Like,
really
you must have been
compare.
a real fucking
It's
shitter,
like
bro.
orders of magnitude worse.
Yeah.
Like you would have been a real fucking shitter to get hit by a big old 2x4.
Yeah, you
That's funny,
you
bro.
think you did something like unforgivable.
You fucking got the whole like 8-foot plank and whacked Brian with it.
Like,
Yeah.
bro, I bought a fucking Xbox with my dad's money. I think that warrants a 2x4, but yet I didn't get a 2x4 to my head.
Yeah, because you were the
Now-
youngest here.
That warrants a 2x6.
Bro, that warrants a fucking steel beam.
That was the whole like trunk. Honestly,
I'm like, bro, you ever,
God.
that warrants a fucking swanton bomb from like the top rope.
Oh god. God damn. Like I've heard like all the disciplinary stories, and a lot of times too for the people we joke about this too, because this is how a lot of kids in our generation, this is how we bonded. Like, man, my mom beat my ass today too
Like
because
you
we
too?
did this
Yeah,
shit.
my hit me with a fucking bamboo stick. I'm like, bamboo stick. I got hit with a fucking leather belt. I'm like, that shit snapped, bro.
It's like, you got hit with the leather belt. He used the buckle side of the leather belt.
Yeah, dude, I couldn't even sit down. It looked like I got an ass fucked.
God damn. But yeah, these are like the strange bonding moments that multi-diverse kids would be a part of. Like you see a bunch of memes of like the average friends group, and it's like all these ethnic groups. There's one thing commonality between all of them. They all got their asses beat one way or the other by their parents.
In
Absolutely.
our friend group, Victor's exception. I don't know about you, Michael.
Oh, I got the belt.
Okay, yeah, Victor. How the fuck is the white guy getting the belt? The belt, but the Vietnamese person who's
I got the belt. I got
One to
the
three.
one time my dad got creative and he grabbed like blue jeans and used the button as like the force. He was just like
Oh,
way it
God.
down. So it's
Damn.
all that is just focused and it did not feel great.
Oh, shit.
Damn, bro.
It's like the
wanna
most cruel
fucked
towel
up
whip
joke, but
ever.
I'll
Yeah.
make it off stream.
God. But yeah, it is actually kind of strange too that Victor's the only one that did not get his ass beat by his parents. I'm not saying that I'm advocating for this, but sometimes our behavior did warrant that in some way.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm
Well,
telling you, if
maybe that just means that I didn't do anything that bad.
probably didn't, you probably a good little boy.
Maybe.
I wasn't. I was an asshole.
But either way,
Yeah.
my parents did yell at me a lot, and that really hit me.
Yeah, they did mental damage instead of physical damage.
Yeah.
They realized that was way more effective than someone that would be trained to get hit.
This man literally said like not too long ago, we asked him, "You ever get praised?" No, like that shit repressed them, like bro.
That's the only reason why it's repressed.
Yeah, but it's repressed because they yell at me a lot.
God damn. No,
It's crazy.
yeah, this is say for all the people that are going to be future parents, please don't beat your kids, and also for your
those-
kid, and also for
those
the kids
people-
as
look,
well.
for those people about to be future parents, don't be a fucking dipshit.
Yeah, please. And also for the kids that have said immigrant parents, please don't be a dickhead to your parents. They're doing their best.
In the end, just don't be a dipshit.
Please.
From both sides.
From both sides, please.
Find a way to come together. No
Well,
matter
In
how
the
hard
end,
it
your
is.
family.
Yeah. What Don Toretto said in all the Fast and Furious movies.
That goes to a certain extent.
Of course it does. But
Bro, if somebody like I ain't gonna lie, if I had a sibling that fucking murdered somebody, I think I might be a snitch. I'm just
Shit.
saying, I don't want to be in the household of a murderer.
yeah, because I don't want to be. I don't know if they're gonna snap and then murder me next.
Like, dog,
It's like,
like, dog,
this-
I'm about to go see Buddha. I'm like, I don't want to see that shit. I'm like, I know I don't practice that shit, but I'm like, please, I kind of believe in the preachings. Like, I want to be
believe-
reincarnated.
Please.
Oh
But yeah.
man, damn, bro.
Any of you guys have a closing statement in this case too? I think we kind of did our point at this. Like, hopefully
Yeah.
this somewhat educational for like kind of getting into the mindscape of like how a lot of like the Asian parenting style is and our criticism towards it based on of our experiences. But obviously we can
Yeah.
only criticize so much only because of the fact that to them this is all they knew. So
Yeah, I'm thinking they're doing their best. Give them a shot.
Mhm.
When you become a parent and your kids like later on, like 20 years down the line, said, my parents were just trying their best. It's just
Sorry.
the same situation.
I'm sorry, son. This hand is being guided by multiple ancestries that are about to hit you real quick because you failed that test.
Yeah.
Like, bro,
Ryan's about to be part of the problem.
Look, I'm not saying I advocate violence for that, but if he failed it and he didn't give a fuck, yeah, I'm gonna make you give a fuck real quick.
there's gonna be a lesson in everything. You can
Yeah,
defend yourself in
look.
school,
Yeah,
but don't choose violence all the time.
yeah.
But the other lesson is that Brian's about to be part of the problem.
God damn it, no.
Yeah.
This is not what this is gonna end at, all right?
Yeah, he's gonna bully his kid and shit.
No, that's Victor. He's gonna bully his fucking kid in order to.
Boy, my kid. Know what you mean, bro?
I don't think so.
yeah,
I think he might just build computers with them. That's it.
Man.
At a very young age,
Code with
they-
my kid. Yeah, you put this piece into here. Yeah. I
And
mean,
next-
same thing when
Mhm.
I'm doing with my nephews, playing Legos with him.
Yeah. Well, needless to
Yeah.
say, I hope this, like, everyone that's going to be hopefully a future parent too, please don't beat your kids. Kids, please don't try to fight your parents here too. They're tired of this bullshit thing. Been trying to raise you.
Brian, don't try to beat your kid either.
Fuck you. I'm not gonna beat my
I
kid.
think an ass whooping nowadays, every now and then is.
I'm gonna report Brian to CPS.
God damn it, no.
The first instance I hear of Brian
It's
even
like,
raising
he
his hand.
touched you?
Don't you
Where?
don't you dare weaponize in this case my child's voice against it.
Oh, no, I'm gonna fucking
non-existent
manipulate
child's
him.
voice against you, you fucks.
I'm manipulating your imaginary child right now.
You
Don't
son of
even
a
do it.
bitch.
I was like,
I-
yeah, you see your dad right there? I'm gonna need you to like make sure he punches you and you take like critical damage, like ding, ding, ding.
Critical damage.
No, they won't call CPS, then that way we can get you a better home.
Oh my fucking god, I hate all of you. Anyways, I am not gonna beat my child at the end of this, so please let this be like an actual concrete evidence. I am not editing this part out. I do not beat my child.
He
Nah,
doesn't have
dude.
a child.
Yeah, you will.
God
He
damn.
know
doesn't
that
beat his
fucking-
child because he doesn't have one yet.
God
that
damn.
peanut butter
Shut
noise
up.
is
No,
gonna
that's
come
not
in.
it. I won't beat my future child, all right? Damn it.
I'm not saying you're gonna beat him, but you know you gotta discipline him with like something.
It was like, I'll give him the old like kneel in a corner and with your hands up raised or
I'll give
some
him the
shit.
good old drop kick. What?
What the fuck? You call
And then
me
jump off the
abusive and
bed
then
onto
you
him.
hear what Loy says. What is this?
Lloyd's gonna drop kick his kid through his like kid's
Dude.
room window.
The thing is, we're gonna do it while we're wrestling.
My
So it's
fucking-
warranted.
Excuse me.
it's
I'm
plain.
sorry. Hold on.
He's gonna make his kid like participate in like wrestling and stuff so that Lloyd can drop kick him.
I can actually drop kick him to train him. I was like, this is how you do it. And I drop kick him, then he comes back and drop kicks me. Then it's like, good job, son. Good job, daughter.
Wait a minute.
Hey, it goes both ways, bro. If you got a daughter that can like drop kick, dude, she drop kick me, I'd be so proud.
Oh my god. Anyways, y'all, thank
And
you
she
all
can
for
defend
tuning in.
herself.
Thank you all for tuning in for a chaotic ending for this shit. I am not a child abuser. And Lloyd, please don't practice WWE moves on your fucking growing imaginary child.
Nope. Bro, I'm gonna teach that kid how to swanton.
Oh my god.
Or
I'm not
swantoning.
going to describe what a swanton is. You guys can look it up yourselves. Anyways, have a good evening, everybody.
Goodbye. Enjoy,
Nine.
Good night.
enjoy yourself. Touch yourself. What?
What?
Yeah.
God damn it.